Okay. Are you live officially now?
Yeah, we're live. It's recording. There probably is no one watching, but like it gets recorded. So
Yes. No, I'm aware. There's definitely some topics that are very interesting right now.
yeah, which we can avoid or not. I'll let you decide where you want to go.
I'll probably strategically deflect anything I don't want to talk about.
That's fair. I'm sure someone in the chat is going to try to bring up some of that. So
Whatever. Everybody's got their side of everything, and it is what it is.
Yeah. And speaking of, you're here to talk about your side of basically being in the sport since almost the beginning.
Almost the beginning, yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a bunch of different perspectives on people who've sort of been around and sort of seen the growth. Because at this point, there aren't that many people left who are really from those early days, and there's a lot of myth that gets sort of pushed out. So I just kind of want to give people the perspective of what that was. And so with that in mind, how long have you been fighting?
Sword fighting in general, of all facets of sword fighting, since for probably like 18 years now. I started in some of the foam fighting groups, moved on to SCA, moved on to EMP, and then as soon as steel fighting kind of came out, I jumped on that too.
Yeah.
There's a handful of us that have come from like the foam fighting world and have just evolved into all the fighting elements. And yeah.
I didn't know you started with foam. What was the game you started with?
Bellegarde is where I started. Okay. Or Dagger here. They're both kind of the same game, just depending on like your location.
Yeah.
And same with Colin. Colin like is a foam fighter. Same with Brett. Brett's a foam fighter. Same with Matt. We all started like this foam fighting world. And
Jesus.
Yeah, I know, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I knew you had the stick background. I didn't know it went all the way back to foam though. So.
Oh yeah.
So what made you want to keep pushing up to greater violence?
Well, like my initial, I remember like the first time I even heard about sword fighting, and we were on a road trip with my buddy, and he's like, I used to fight with these foam swords in this college, and I'm like, what? How have you never told me about this? And I was like instantly hooked. Like I didn't even have to see it, didn't even have to know it, and I was like knew I was hooked. And started going out to some of their practices, was hooked with that, and then it's like I just keep wanting more. It was like there was never enough. Like it was just like went to SCA. I'm like, yeah, this isn't enough for me. I went to EMP. This isn't enough for me. Fuck, steel fighting. Yes, this is what I want.
So is this enough? Is this enough, or are you looking to go one more if we could find a way?
Well, I feel like all of them combined is finally enough. All of them combined is enough. And now that like you travel the world and do all this stuff, like this is just like perfect. Getting to compete all over the world is just like the best thing ever.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Josh says, "Hey, what's up? What's up, Josh? How's it going?"
Hi, Josh.
So where'd my interview go? So this was sort of the culmination of all of that, or steel fighting was, right? So you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The competitive element was the biggest sell to me. It was like all of these other games are just kind of like more fun and hobby and casual, and it's like this honor-based system. As soon as there was like a sport element to it, where there's like judges and there's like marshals out there, and it's like team on team, and it's like super competitive, I'm like, oh fuck yeah, I'm sold on this.
Nice. So what was your first time in armor for steel? Like what was the first time you crossed over?
My first time in armor was at an event in Pennsylvania. I had cobbled together like bullshit chainmail, leather armor that I used for my foam fighting. I wore my gladiator helmet for SCA. Like I literally had no idea what I was getting into. And I feel like there was a lot of first timers in that practice. And because of like I had a lot of experience, I was doing competitive CrossFit at that time. So I was like really fit. I was like everything like lined up for me to like step into the sport at that time.
So you were already doing competitive like athletics, right? CrossFit's no
Yeah.
joke. Was that like a real differentiator back then? Because like now everyone's trying to be an athlete, but that my memory of those early days is that was not the case. Is that ring true to you?
Oh, there was nobody was even like touching on fitness back then. It was just kind of completely foreign to most people. Because most of the people that came, I would say a good majority came from the SCA. And the SCA is while it is a fun fighting group and there's a lot of good fighters there, they are not known for fitness. And yeah, and so like most of those SCA guys that went out there, and it was a shock. They're like, "Holy shit, this is completely different." And yeah, and I was excited about
it. Yeah. Oh,
hold on, my lights went out. Okay, I'm back.
What's up, Land? Land says hi.
I love you, Land.
I lost my chat. There we go. It's back. Right, so you were, so probably right off the bat, you were probably excelling at that first practice, even though you didn't have a kit.
Yeah, in all honesty, like I was doing EMP probably maybe 2 years before that, and like if you guys don't know EMP, it's basically full contact stick fighting, and honestly, it's probably more violent than steel fighting because
really?
It's oh yeah, it's full contact, like just you take people down and you can do ground and pound and it's just it's just exceptionally violent. And so like that was like a really good introduction to the sport as well.
Nice. So are there many EMP crossovers then? Because I know it's you.
Yeah.
Avaloc.
Me and Colin and Avaloc has been one. Basically everybody in original Iron Phoenix was almost every single one was a EMP fighter.
Okay. All right, so that's the a big difference in stick game from the SCA, because we saw a lot of the SCA people, in my experience, that they all dropped off, but you guys all seem to thrive then. So it is a better crossover.
And I think it's just the philosophy. It's just a different philosophy of sword fighting. Like EMP is like an environment that kind of encourages a little more violence, and SCA is a little, encourages more safety. And they're both awesome games. They just focus on different elements.
Right. Yeah, they're not the same. It's the same. Like there's a bunch of foam that's real light, and then you go to DAG, which is a little bit rougher, and it's all whatever you want to play.
My first EMP event was fighting in a ring of fire. So
nice.
Usually they don't do that very often with the SCA.
No, I can't remember a single ring of fire.
Right, exactly.
Sadly. All right, so that was your first domestic event, was that Pennsylvania event. What was your first international? Was it that year?
Yeah, it was that. That practice was like 2012, and then 2013 was France, and we fought. I think we did one big practice in Springfield before France. I had got put on the Striking Eagle team with a lot of the old school people out there. And to me, at that time, it was like that was like a really cool experience, just being with all these guys that I could tell were clearly passionate about the sport. It was still, you had like Bam Bam and Simon and Scott Frappier and Brett Ivey and Andre, and it was it was like kind of a really cool group of, and they're very like alpha male kind of crowd. It was
Oh no. I am not getting any of your audio. I don't know if the chat is going to... Nope, chat has lost you too. I don't know if you're here. Oh, now I've lost your video. Hey, maybe? Nope. I don't. Wow. This isn't great. So Craig is out. He's getting back from a camping event and decided to be. Oh, hey, are you here?
It's fine.
No, we lost him again. Anyway, he's probably not in the best service because he just came back from camping and decided to hop on. Despite that, which is very nice, but looks like we're running into some technical problems. Oh, maybe you are back. I know. Yeah, we are getting nothing. I don't know if you're getting anything from me, Craig, but your video is lagged as hell. I don't hear you at all. So I'm gonna do this.
Hello?
Hey! Oh, nope. I'm not gonna do that. Hey!
Hello?
Hey!
Hello?
Are you back?
Yeah.
Sweet!
So I should have a good connection. I don't know. I'm not like in the boonies or anything.
Yeah, but I mean that sometimes happens. It could have been on my end. My Wi-Fi says we're good though.
Okay, I could hear everything from you, so
Okay.
I wasn't losing anything. So who knows?
I don't know. The chat said the stream was going up, so technology. Hey.
Oh, who knows?
Right. So you were talking about you were on that Striking Eagles team with a bunch of monsters back when some of those guys were still like top of the sport. And so you went over there. That was your first event, Battle of the Nation France. What was that like? Your first time going across?
Well, so for me, it was like, I kept, I did so much research. Like, I've always been just such a nerd in this sport, and I'm always watching videos, and I'm always checking different fighters. I'm always doing those, so I just watched so many of the Russian fighters. And watching their videos, it was like you would watch some of the older videos where it's just like Russia on Russia fighting. And that's like, man, these guys don't look very good. And I was like, how can we not beat these guys? And because I see it now, but then it was like I would watch these fights and everybody would like almost pair off individually. Like you would see like 5 one-on-one fights just spread out, and I'm like, man, this just doesn't seem like the best strategy. It doesn't seem, and then I actually learned how the sport works, and I realized, oh shit, these guys are all really good, and that's why they do strategize like that, and they do function like that. And I'm like, oh, okay. So in terms of my knowledge of the sport at that time, it was just shit. Like I didn't know what I was doing. One of our strategies in that tournament was to not rail fight. Like we're like, don't fight on the rail. We're never going to fight on the rail. And nowadays, that it's like that's part of the game. Like that's one of the biggest pieces of the game. You have to know how to do that, and it's just a big difference. It was a big learning curve.
Yeah, certainly. That's if you're walking out there just saying we're not going to do that, you better be really good at not doing that because everyone's going to want to fight you there.
Yeah, and then they literally just fought us, and they just stayed on the rail, and we're like, shit, what do we do about this? and none of us knew what we were really doing. So it was a good lesson. I learned a lot from it.
So can you compare your experience there to your last time going to Battle of the Nations?
So last time I went was Serbia. Every year that I've gone so far, it is like I feel like each year is completely different. Like they get a lot more technical on like just the armor standards. And again, that's like their own thing. That's what they want to see happen. So I'm fine with that. They've gotten a lot more technical on the rules. They've gotten a lot more clear on everything, because when the first year I went, like the rules weren't very clear. You kind of sort of knew what was happening, but you sort of didn't. And so now things are a lot more clear. You kind of know what what's happening going into it. And so just everything just feels so much more streamlined in the whole process. And it's run so well. Like there's very little waiting around. Like it's like go, 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 go.
Nice. Is that, how much of that is that you know the sport now versus actually, because there's a bunch of people, like I just put out a survey for the sport, and one of the biggest feedback people gave is that we don't understand this rule in authenticity, or like why did this happen, and so and a lot of that may come to translation issues, right? But regardless, there's a bunch of people who find that they don't know what's going on. And now I'm wondering how much of that is just that you've been there, do you think? Or these are people who just are expecting too much? Like,
sometimes I think it's just people not really paying attention-ish. If you really want your kit to go well and do good, just go talk to the right people. Go talk to Larry. Go talk to like the armor people. Send them some pictures. They're going to tell you what's wrong with it. And for the most part, like the shit that's wrong with it, the people that know. People that don't necessarily. I am always one of the people that kind of want to skirt the rules. So that is my place. I will always try to go with like the easier path and not have like the complete like technical armor. So I get poked a little bit, but I usually skirt by. Yeah, and it's a little tedious until you kind of get a kit that just is going to work. All you got to do is kind of find a kit that you know works, repeat what has already been done, and it's super easy. You don't usually have an issue.
Okay. All right. So if you're new and you're watching and one of your things was I don't know what's going on, probably you need to read more.
Right. That's exactly what it is. Or
reach out
and be like, this guy's been to Battle of Nations. I'm going to make his kit.
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, you're probably going to be pretty good. And then your next kit, you can go with whatever fancy, weird armor that you want. Go with an easy kit, your first kit. After that, figure out what you want. Because you're always going to buy a second kit. Doesn't matter who you are.
So also, I want you to compare your first time in armor at that PA event where you didn't know what you're doing, you're wearing a gladiator helm, with the Carnage event you just went to. Not just your experience, but like also looking at the way it was run, the level of fighters, just overall, what was that? How far have we come in your mind?
Infinitely changed. Like first time going to that Pennsylvania event, people didn't know how to grapple at all. Like people didn't know how to strike. People didn't know how to move. People didn't know how to chat. People there was just it really felt like old school like UFC fighting. You would have these guys that had they were going out there as like this street brawler and just getting smashed by anybody that could like wrestle or jujitsu. That's what it felt like. You have these SCA guys out there. They feel like they got this basic knowledge of information, but it doesn't transfer over to like what the heart of the sport is.
Right. So I have been saying for years now, I feel like the sport is in that early days of UFC, and I don't think we're out of it yet. Do you think we've started to get to the point where we're really starting to see like actual like in 10 years looking back, we'll be like, oh yeah, that's still a good fighter. Do you think we're at that level yet?
I think we're starting to just now understand it. So, now I love comparing it to UFC because there was such a unique transition of where everybody was coming at it from different dynamics. And now you look at UFC, everybody has kind of the same basic skill set, but they might specialize in certain areas. And I think we're kind of in the space of learning what those basics are, but people more and more understanding the basics you need to perform at an okay level in the sport right now. And then once we have 1,000 more fighters, that's when you're going to see like shit getting real. That's when people are going to start like really seeing like the baseline skill set really practiced, really worked on, and you're going to step into every fight, and you're not going to just be able to throw somebody down super easy. Like every fight is going to be a fight.
Right. Yeah. And hopefully that comes sooner than 10 years, but who knows?
Yeah. Well, we're on the right trajectory. We're on the right trajectory.
I mean, yeah, if you look at how far we've come in 8 years, 5 years, 7 years.
2012, 9 years, 2012. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it could be another 8 years. We might be there, or maybe even sooner. I just asked that one. So in your mind, the top 3 biggest changes we've seen in the sport, whether armor, whether running, whether skills, athleticism, whatever you think the biggest 3 things
are. Number one thing is the skills. Is like people are starting to understand like the basic skill sets needed. Number 2 is definitely the armor. People are starting to go more towards competitive armor. You're starting to see the wolf rebs everywhere. Almost everybody, like all the higher end fighters, are all fighting in titanium now. Like, just kits are being optimized, and that's a requirement. As less fun as it is, it's part of a requirement to be competitive. And lastly is just like the teams, the organization of teams, the structure of teams, how teams are put together. Like the older ACL model was, your best team was the amalgam of everybody from around the U.S. put onto one great team, and we're kind of getting away from that for these bigger events. So. Definitely those 3: just the skill set, the armor, and just how teams are put together and how they function.
Right. Do you think there's anything worse now from when the doesn't necessarily have to be?
As much as weird as it is right now, like obviously we're kind of in like a little drama bubble. I think
I don't know
this bubble is gonna pop. This bubble's going to pop, and we're going to be in a good place. I think everybody's getting kind of these like knee-jerk reactions right now of the past, but I think we're just working this shit out. We're getting better communication. Like everything is like, I think COVID fucked shit up for a little bit, but I think in the next 2-3 years, we're going to be flowing. I think we're going to be flowing really well.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like we're going to see another fucking Josh. Josh says we're in a tantric sex bubble. Sorry, I had to.
You can be in my bubble anytime, Josh.
Whoa! Ooh, I don't think you can handle that, honestly. So yeah, I hope the bubble pops. I hope we get back to last Clemson. That was nice. We'll see.
I think we will. I think ACS is doing really cool shit. I think HMB is doing really cool shit. HMB is finally organizing and structuring and doing really good stuff. Obviously, there's a little, kerfuffle-ish stuff going on there, but they're doing the right stuff. They're doing the right stuff, even though there's still some growing pains with that.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I guess that's the thing we all have to start maybe coming to terms with. Is always going to be right, like. No one who's running this that I know of is actually like really an experienced sports administrator at all.
Absolutely.
Like, maybe an experienced administrator, but like that's a completely different thing. Like I don't even think anyone's run like a little league. So
I absolutely do not get into politics for that reason, because I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I would not be good at that.
Yeah. I just call it out and piss everyone off instead. That's.
I try not to do that. Sometimes I get to there, but I'm an emotional person myself, so try to avoid that though.
Yeah. What are some of the most memorable moments you have, either of things you've done, things you've seen, either on the field or off the field?
Let's see. For me, that just my first year in France was just fucking magical. Like, one of the cool things about fighting in France is like that has been one of the best teams that America has ever put forward, and I didn't even realize it then. Like, I didn't realize that we were as good as what we were. You know, it was just like we showed up. I expected us to do really well, and we did really well. And like that was just kind of expected. And then obviously, shit kind of broke for a little while, and then we didn't do as well for a long time. But that first year, like doing it, participating in it, doing really well for what I considered our second year was just awesome. And then for me, like I got injured for 3 years. I had my bullshit knee stuff, and coming back into Spain and coming back and fighting again. Like, even though I wasn't in the sport, like fighting those 3 years, I was in the sport. Like, I was going to practice every day, even though I couldn't practice. Like, every chance I could get, I would go to practice and just sit there and watch and not be able to practice. But Jesus. I was there, I was like, as soon as my shit gets fixed, I'm ready to go. And then coming back into Spain and actually doing pretty well. And, that was just fucking glorious. And then Carnage, like last year's Carnage was just beautiful. Like, everybody coming back together, like having these, like being able to fight against the Executioners, fighting with Ordo, fighting against versus the old Iron Phoenix team. It was just like, this is really fucking cool.
Was it good beating your old team? Did that feel good? Is there a little
Well, I mean, Colin and I have just like a beautiful bromance, and and I always want to fight with them, but we just had, we had our own paths that we had to go down for that tournament, and just being able to beat your friends is always one of the most beautiful things to do in the world. Oh. So yeah, I mean, it was good. It was good on that perspective.
So is he looking for revenge? Is he going to try and take an Australian team specifically to come after you?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he's just loving the Australian life and just living his happy life right now. I know he's training hard too.
Land says that you coaching and running plays at ITALK 2 was inspiring. Do you know what he's talking about, and do you want to speak to that?
Was that the one where I was not fighting? I don't know. Is that right, Land? Was I not fighting?
We'll wait for him to respond. Meanwhile,
I kind of forget. There were so many ITALKs, and they kind of jumped around a little bit. I kind of don't remember which one was which.
Okay. He says yes. That was the year Partisan was there.
Okay. Yeah, that was a really frustrating year because I wanted to be fucking out there fighting, and I was just still stuck in my limbo of not being able to fight. And for those of you who don't know, Springfield is like 45 minutes from where I grew up, and so like my whole family lives in Central Illinois, and so I have to go every time they fought in Springfield, whether I could fight or not. I had to go because my mom would kill me if I didn't. And so it was like, even though I wasn't fighting, it was just awesome to support, talk about strategy, and help everybody and support everybody. And that's to me is like another piece of the sport that I absolutely love, is just the coaching and the strategy and all of that stuff.
So you were coaching Iron Phoenix that year?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Do you, Lance asking if you think that's a role that we should be having more of, a dedicated coach who runs plays and and manages your subs and stuff like that?
100%. I think that is the thing that is insanely missed right now. Unfortunately, all the best coaches are kind of the best fighters right now too, and so you can't really have your best fighters being out there. But at the very least, I think every team should have a maybe like a manager, not necessarily a coach, but somebody who can kind of like make sure weapons are in place, make sure there's like really quick armor repairs, make sure that people know when to check in, make sure to check on fighters for health and just awareness, stuff like that. Like a little manager, I think every team should have, covering just a lot of the logistics of that stuff. But ultimately, every team is going to have a coach. I don't think there's enough coaches out there yet that like fully understand the sport. But like when I retire, I'm totally going to be a coach, and so that'll be what I do.
I mean, like that's honestly where I'm like thinking of translating right now, because I basically just don't want to get any more concussions.
Yeah, there is that.
So So we'll see if that happens, or if I do the dumb and go back to fighting.
It's hard. It's hard to escape.
It's so hard. Chris Tiger Shady wants to know if you think Kali, the stick fighting, is useful in this.
Yeah, I absolutely. Like it teaches you footwork. It teaches you just like that transition of full body movement. I feel like it's a little more dual specific than it is for Bohurt. I feel like it fits in more of the dual pro fight realm than it does in the Bohurt field, just because in Bohurt you're not doing those quicker movements. You're doing big, powerful, explosive type strikes. You're doing big, powerful checks. You're doing a lot of grappling. I feel like it fits in like duels, maybe pro fight, but probably not as much in Bohurt. But again, every martial art helps to some degree.
What do you think about the idea of using pro fight formats and similar things like that? Not duels, but one-on-one fights that are more about the grappling, that are more about the heavy blows as training for Bohurt, particularly when so many teams do that 1v1v1 along the line.
So as long as it's focused training, I'm a big fan of it. And at all of our practices, we generally end with some format of pro fighting. One, because it's just amazing for fitness, and two, because you can kind of get the feel of everything. You can work on your strikes, you can work on your footwork, you can work on grappling. So you can kind of like step into each piece and get like a really good fitness workout from just that. Every team still needs to have soft kits. Like one of the things that I still see probably more than anything is people doing these pro fight practice style things in full kit. I don't necessarily agree with that very much. I think we should be doing that more in soft kit rather than full kit. I think if you're in full kit, you should probably be doing more Bohurt skill work where you're doing 2-on-1s, where you're doing 2-on-2s, stuff like that. Less of the pro fight stuff. I think the pro fight stuff should be soft kit based.
All right. What about competing in it? Do you think that... So you've done a couple of pro fights, including one against... Did we lose you? No. Oh, maybe. It's slow again. Oh, what the fuck?
I hear you.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, hey, you're back. Completely back.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck is going on. So you've done a couple of pro fights, including one against Ukulov. Do you think that those experiences were helpful to your Bohurt? Like, do you think taking a competitive Bohurt is worth it? What the fuck? Not again. Well, I lost you again.
I see. I hear you.
Yeah, I don't know. Something on your iPhone doesn't like this. Because I got 280 meg, so your iPhone hates me.
Beautiful.
I don't know why your iPhone hates me. I wish it didn't. Every time. Well, while we wait for Craig's audio and visual to catch back up, hopefully...
I got full connection. Feel good.
Are you here? Can you hear me?
Maybe Apple is blocking.
Sentient Cheese says you need to refresh your connection. Airplane mode.
What's funny is I see you so beautifully.
Back off.
Like you fit. You're like right on my screen.
I have no idea. Hey, fuck you, man. Apple makes great.
Yeah, I hear you totally. Out of this? Do we know?
My vid is freezing, Greg? All right.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, kind of. Oh, you're back.
Yeah, I don't lose connection with you at all. Like I keep seeing you fully.
I have no idea. Which is wild because Greg is saying that my connection to them is freezing now. I don't know what's going on. Someday I'll figure out the tech for this. That's a lie. I will never do that. Anyway, I was asking you if pro fight, actually having a pro fight was made you a better fighter.
Absolutely. Like, so one of the things that I recognized for, especially Golov, is just optimizing your. And if you're going to be a pro fighter, you're going to be a bow hunter, you need an optimized Bohurt kit. And that people still struggle with that. One, because you just got to buy a lot of extra armor, but that's just kind of the reality of where the sport's at. You know, if you're not optimizing yourself for the fight format that you're in, you're kind of putting a pretty big limitation on yourself.
Yeah, that makes sense. What do you think the optimized Bohurt kit is? Like, do you think we need back of the calf protection, or can we drop that? Do you think there's a specific style of coat of plates that's better than anything else?
I think Bohurt is the most subjective because some of us have meat armor. So, hello?
Hey, I have your audio, but your visual's frozen.
Hello?
No.
I'm going to try to. I'll do the refresh thing.
Okay.
How's that set?
All right, sounds good. We'll try that.
Kind of work of a technical.
Goodbye. What's up, Andrew? Nice seeing you. I guess I'm going to talk about my first time I met Craig, which was he came to New York for something. I think he was there maybe for a Pride. Anyway, he walked into sword class when I was teaching, and we just sat and talked fighting and didn't fight. And it was great. It was back during the ACL days too, so like we'd never seen each other fight. He might have still been injured, but like there was like this weird little tension of drama where we're both like, we can't fight each other because Andre's an asshole. So yeah, that was that. That's hey.
I fucked with shit. I don't know if it worked.
Are you back?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, do you have video? Is your video on? I can't see you.
Okay, let me see. Any luck there?
Nope. I have a very blank screen. Now I see your iPhone, and now it's blank again.
So weird.
Yeah, I have a curse on this stream where tech never works for me.
Huh.
What if I stop video on my end and then start video on my end? Nope, I didn't do anything. Cool.
Did I do it?
Cool. No.
It gave me a little message that said it was going to do something.
Oh my god. I don't... This is wild. Well...
Let's see. You can see my steering wheel right now.
You can see your steering wheel. Oh, I can't see anything. I got... Your video's not coming through at all. Oh, sweet. Huh. They're blaming Andrew Dio, so it's no longer either of our faults.
Good. Well, the audio is there now, it sounds like.
Yeah, we can hear you. Greg says we should just go with that, and they'll unfortunately have to look at my face instead of yours.
That's fine.
Not for them, unfortunately, but maybe that'll come back. You were saying you think Bohurt armor is the most subjective, I believe?
Yes, because there are many of us that have meat armor, and meat armor is very protective.
Hey!
And if you don't have meat armor, you need more metal armor.
Oh. Well, I have a picture of your face. I've lost your audio. But that was a good part. Meat armor means you don't need.
Oh my gosh. Meat armor. Meat armor.
Meat armor beats metal armor is what I'm hearing. You don't need any metal armor if you have enough meat. So official word from Craig is you shouldn't wear armor. Just go. Oh, are we back? Are you back? Maybe. Maybe. I'm out of water. This is dope.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try.
If you're a little guy,
I'm gonna try ending this meeting and bring it back. Maybe this is on my end.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the Zoom call. All right. I'm gonna try ending it and then join back in like a minute. Does this sound good? Did you hear me? Oh, we'll just find out. I don't know where my OBS went. There it is. Jesus Christ. You guys are rude. Everyone's shitting on him for having a beautiful sex life, and that's not beautiful. Josh, there's no way you're going to show me your tantric dances. Do it right now. I want you to, after tonight, film yourself doing tantric dances. We can have a tantric dance-off, in fact. Oh, hey. Hey. And
right, what do you think?
I think we're better. I think we're good.
Okay.
I think we fixed it.
Okay. Let's hope.
I knocked on some
So we're
wood.
talking about my knee is where we're at.
You immediately lagged. I don't get it.
Good. Keep you safe. So we damn it. Hey, you know what? I don't know. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello?
Hey.
So it shows you, I don't know why, but it shows like on your little name that you have like one little bar on your name. I don't know what that means with this, but
It should mean that I'm not connected very well, but my stream says I'm doing fucking okay. And
yeah.
I don't fucking know, man. I got 200 megabits a second going up and like going down. I don't know. I closed my fucking. Hey, but we're going now. Let's see if you can say the meat armor thing without it freezing immediately.
Meat. You need meat. No, it's one of those things. You're safer the more meat you have. Like there's just like I feel like if you've got a little less meat, you got to wear a little more armor. That's just how it is. You know, unfortunately.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Or protect the spots where you're going to get hit. I still think just knowing how to protect yourself. Like I don't feel like I get hit very often, and I think that just comes from like sword fighting, from years of sword fighting, is just being able to block shots and anticipate shots and just going that route and like just actively trying to get hit less, just having good battlefield awareness, stuff like that. You're just not going to get hit as often.
Yeah, I'm a big believer of telling people just not to get hit there, and then they get mad at me. But like, I don't know, it's worked for me.
Yeah, I mean, everybody gave me shit for fighting in Lamalar for like my first 3 Battle of Nations, and in hindsight, that was such a horrible idea. Such a horrible idea.
Why don't you like Ramlar anymore?
Because it's fucking a horrible idea. Like, I don't recommend anybody fighting in that stuff. It is not safe. It is not safe. You will get broken if you wear that stuff.
If you get hit. So
if you get hit. But yeah. The odds are you're gonna get hit at some point.
I was gonna say, on a long enough timeline of someone's gonna get you with a good shot. Hit.
Yeah. I got lucky. I don't recommend that for anybody else.
Oh, all right. Well, we're gonna skip that, Josh. Winter camp. Talk about its growth.
Oh man, I was literally just thinking about this today because I was just kind of like meditating on it. Winter camp started in I think 2017, and it was literally just like, hey, we need some like training events here, and it was such like, in my mindset, it was something that I was like really passionate about and something I really wanted to do, and probably in the last 2 years, I've realized for myself how shitty I am of being like a coordinator. I cannot coordinate. I am really good with ideas. I am not a good coordinator. So in my mindset, like the first couple of them were really good, but it was kind of like my idea just because I thought it was such a really good idea, but I wanted to pass it off to other people. I'm like, here, take this idea and run with it and make it happen. And the first one was fucking awesome. The second one was awesome. The third one, it started to go downhill a little bit. And I was like, shit, it's either going to die off on the next one or we're going to go big on it. And so I recognized that I had to recruit like people who knew things and could coordinate things. And that was not me. So I asked Desha if she would like run this event and coordinate it, and I'm like, I will help. You just tell me what to do, and that was last year's, and it was beautiful. Everything ran really well. It was the biggest training event we've had in the United States. I want to keep seeing all of these grow. I know Dan's got his second one coming up. And we're going to get ready to do one in Illinois. Like training events to me are just fucking popping up everywhere now, and I am excited about that.
Yeah, it's a dope, and it's something that we need so hard because it's just we have pockets of good fighters, and like managing to spread that talent out has been
right. And one of the things too we realize is like, how many times have you and I got to train together?
Never. Literally never.
And that's the thing is like, we can fight on the battlefield, like any sort of tournament or anything like that. It's not training. Like we don't get to like just kind of feel and see where people are at in terms of like their skill and just anything like that. And that is what this sport needs. Like we need people to like just sit down and work with each other and train and practice and play and put all that together. Because tournaments just don't give you that feel of where you're at in the sport in terms of your skill.
No, I'm for ever since basically I got into the sport, I've been a kind of against the tourney model for our big events, particularly for our big prep for international. And this is obviously everyone has their own feeling on it, but like one of the things that always bothered me is that the ACL was like, we'll do a training event, and we didn't do any training. We talked a little bit, and then we did a tournament, and like. We don't do training camps. Like winter camp exists, and that's so far. And Dan now has one, but like we don't do a Team USA. We've never done a Team USA training camp since Springfield 2, 3. I don't know. And like I was.
But that wasn't even.
No.
In my opinion, that wasn't even a training event. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, but like that's the model that works for every major sport. Is you get the people together, and not only are you just right, so like you have your training seminars and people learning the things, but hey, we're gonna get there and we're all gonna do the same drills, and we're gonna sit there and we're gonna see where everyone's at, and we get to actually have an evaluation against each other on just very specific things. Obviously, there's some pushback on having people select a team, an all-star method team. So I'm not going to
For sure.
push on that. But
For sure.
I would love to see us get a Team USA training camp together somehow. Like, even if we can't pull that method. And I don't know. Maybe it becomes a winter camp. Maybe it becomes one of Dan's or something else. But
yeah, I think Dan's probably got the best space for it right now because just of all the fucking crazy hard work that he's put into that stuff. Warlords has just got a great facility. The Knights Hall is an awesome space. Like it's like I think it just needs to become like a required piece for the sport in the United States. And I think that should be like a bid that is put in for, all of the fighters to be like, and it kind of become a requirement. Like you have to attend this training camp if you're like serious about wanting to compete internationally or compete competitive, like just be a competitive team.
Yeah, I would be very cool with that personally as well. Shug from the nightlife.com YouTube. I forget what it's just a YouTube. From the Nightlife YouTube, he wants to know if the Ludus grappling training has changed at all with the IMCF changing their rule set a little bit, or do you guys just do grappling? Do you guys not sort of focus on what the rules are and focus on grappling, or do you try to grapple specifically for the rule set?
Honestly, so for the Ludus, we don't have a rail to train on, and so that's really the biggest difference.
No.
Is that it? And so it's really rail stuff, and for me, it doesn't change it's a slight technique change. Don't make any sort of big basic grapple stuff is still there. Yeah.
Oh. I have no idea if we're working.
I see you at 2 bars now. I see you at 3 bars now.
What the fuck? All right.
When you drop down to 1 bar, you like disappear. When you pop back up to the 3.
Am I at 1 bar? You're slowing down.
I don't know. You're at 3 now. You're at full.
What the fuck? I hate technology. Josh, come fix my internet. Andrew, one of you guys. All right. We didn't get through everything.
I like your.
Hey.
I like your fingernails. By the way.
You like my fingernails? Thank you. Oh, cool. Now my video is out, so I don't know what happened to my internet, but my internet decided to suck. Cool. I have 300 megabytes. How does it suck? All right. Well, Craig, I don't know if you can hear this. I'm gonna end this because I'm getting frustrated as fuck. It's almost 10:30 anyway, so we almost did an hour. We covered half of what I wanted, so that sucks.
I hear you just fine.
Okay. Well, thank you for being on, Craig. I hope everyone on the stream is here. I'm going to end this. Hopefully we'll get you back when I can figure out whatever the fuck is here, or you're not on an iPhone in case it's on your end. We'll figure it out. I'd love to have you back on. I want to do another talk about training. Probably have you on for that. But anyway, thank you, Craig. Thank you, chat.
You do, yeah.
Oh, hey, we heard that. Cool. We kind of almost back. Whatever. I'm ending it anyway. Peace out, everybody.